everybody. It is a Facebook Live Friday. The conversations which go on pre-show.
Oh, for all of those you see in front of the camera and those you don't.
We welcome you. I'm Brian Milam. That is Dave Baker, or as normal, Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. You know, we go back to the, like we talked about last week, the old Army Heisman Trophy winners. So it is an off week for the football Wildcats, a much needed off week for the football Wildcats. Mentally, physically, I think to a degree, football IQ, emotionally, everything, any other Ali you can think of. They need it because the Tennessee Volunteers are showing up a week from tomorrow. The basketball Wildcats are doing their thing, but let's quickly get to football and just knock it out first, because if an off week came at a great time, it came at a great time this week.
Well, I think it does to regroup. I mean, from an emotional standpoint, you know, as a player, you know this. You want to get right back out. You know, somebody walks you off on Tuesday night. You want to get back out and play on Wednesday night, right?
The beauty of baseball, you can do that.
Well, you can. Same. Basketball's not a long way away.
Football, you got a week.
But now you got two, and that's the whole deal. But, I mean, they certainly needed to take a look at some things, and we heard from Mark Stoops a little bit last night, but you know, I think he's probably trying to walk a really fine line right now. I mean, there are obviously things that they need to clean up, but by the same token, the back half of this schedule is just so incredibly difficult.
Yeah, sure it is.
And so, you know, how much are you stepping on the gas? How much are you trying to pat guys on the back? And, you know, he talked about the fact that we're working on situational football. You know, we're kind of old school guys. You would normally think that when you had a game like that this week of practice with no game on Saturday would have been more physical. And it may be. We don't know. But the proof will be in the proverbial pudding a week from tomorrow.
Well, I think it's such an important time for UK because, as you mentioned, they've got Tennessee and they've got Alabama and they've got South Carolina, Mississippi State, a Louisville team, which all of a sudden appears, they showed they were mortal last week, but is a lot like UK, maybe to a certain degree, maybe over-exceeding certain expectations, at least collectively, not individually, because I don't think anybody saw Louisville being ranked 14th in the country, 5-1, 6-1, whatever they are. And so it's huge. But I think emotionally, this team needed a break because of all of the penalties, all of the unsportsmanlike penalties, the late hits, the personal fouls. You want to be aggressive and you want to play out of your mind sometimes, but you also have to play within your mind and think the game a little bit.
The other thing that this can do is if you're going to make any schematic changes, if you're going to make any personnel changes, this is the time to do it.
Yep.
And so, I've got no indication that that's happening, but I mean, I've heard coaches say it before. I mean, if things aren't going right, the last thing you do is sit there with a pat hand. I mean, if it's not going right, you got to figure out what you need to do to get it going. And this is whenever you have that off week, that's the time to do that.
Yeah. So Kentucky is off. When I was a kid, they would always put, instead of bye week or off week, they'd put idle. And I thought, man, who is this Idol?
Eric Idle.
They show up all the time, Billy Idol. But the Cats are off, so next week it's a night game for Tennessee, a 7 o'clock night affair. So that will have everybody in blue and white ready to go. Also ready to go with tomorrow, the blue-white game, the basketball Wildcats. Media Day this past week down in Birmingham. The Cats are picked 4th in the conference.
Yes.
And I think that's pretty good because I think some of the pollsters have kind of overshot the Cats in recent years to a degree.
Oh, yeah.
And now maybe they're thinking, all right, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 4 times. Oh, this 5th time we'll just.
And you got so much uncertainty. I mean, you still got Aaron Bradshaw and Onyenso, who are out injured. And the bullseye seems to be to continue to move on that as to when they might be back. You've also got Ivan Isevic, who's just, did I get that right?
We'll take it. We will.
Well, no, did I get it right?
Zvonimir
Ivisic.
Yes.
Ivonimir Ivisic.
Cal had him on his little podcast
on the Calcast.
On Twitter ex-Twitter.
Calcast.
Whatever it was. Yeah, Calcast. And he said, all right, now spell it out. Zvonimir. Okay.
Zvonimir Ivisic.
And then Cal looks, he's like,
and butchers it.
No,
Z.
he says, say it with me, everybody. I still love Oscar Sheboy's line last year and I cannot remember who asked him, I think it was Larry Vaught, who said, how do you pronounce your name, Oscar? And he goes, well,
Oscar.
you can, over in certain areas, he goes, you could call me Chew-Boy, or you could call me Chew-Boy. I just thought that was the greatest line. So humble and honest, and the whole place erupted.
Yeah. So, the first exhibition against Georgetown's a week from tonight.
Yeah, you're Tigers.
But you're still not at full strength, so I don't know what you're going to see in the blue-white game. You'll see some people running around. Big news just a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
Boogie Flan.
Boogie.
Got a boogie on down. The number 2 guard in the class of 2024. The number 1 point guard in the class of 24. Alabama was in the running, but at the end it was just Kentucky and Indiana. And probably about an hour ago, he picked Kentucky over Indiana.
So it's Boogie 2.0. We had DeMarcus Cousins as Boogie, and now we've got the guard Boogie. Boogie Fland will come to Kentucky next year. Too much of a roster buildup right now to do it now, obviously. And one of the few guys that, in this age of reclassification, he did not, so he's staying.
Which is really nice, which means you don't get a 16 or a 17-year-old out there as a freshman, right?
As we have seen in recent years when certain 5-star guards, ranked 5-star, I swear upon all that's holy, I could hold my own with one of the 5-star guards that has danced around the country.
But then as these guys have gotten younger, too, I mean, you've got all the COVID guys. And there are still some 5th and 6th year people out there, that end up looking like Vlade Divac.
So that's a name you haven't put that on your bingo card if you didn't already. Vlade Divac.
I mean, but doesn't it look like you got when you guys are young, you're in college or something or in high school,
being the president.
You go down and play at the Y, and then you walk in and you see this guy that looks like Vlade Divac, and you think, what is this guy going to do? And he knows every elbow, every little nudge.
Oh yeah.
And he just rings the school bell.
That's great. That's great. Vlade Divac. Wow, that's a good one.
That Lakers PA announcer used to go, Vlade Divac.
Wow, I don't get thrown too often. You just threw one heck of a curve right there. The UK ladies have not shown a lot last year, the regular season, but again, they get hot in the SEC tournament.
Yep.
Won a couple of games, obviously 2 years ago. Won the whole show, beating everybody in their path. Kyra Elsie was bragging about the guards, saying, yeah, it's a very heavy guard-oriented team in terms of maturation. Very mature ladies out there who understand the game and can be a leader here. And when you have Ryan Howard do everything for so long, I think you kind of expect a down year because everybody has to reevaluate their situation.
What happens is Ryan Howard could also cover up some things that weren't so good.
No doubt.
It's kind of like we have people on the pregame show all the time call up about shot blockers. Okay, shot blockers are great. Okay,
great on the stat sheet.
But what does that indicate? If you got somebody that's blocking shots, that means somebody's getting blown by on the drive, right?
That's right.
And virtually all of AD and anybody else who is a great shot blocker, their shots come from off the ball.
Yeah.
And it's helping out. And so I think you might not be in a great offensive set. You might not have a great look at the basket. The shot clock may be about to run down. But Ryan Howard could erase all that because of her incredible individual ability.
Yeah, Maddie Shear, the Oregon transfer, played at Ryle, if memory serves.
That's right. I think you're right.
And saw her play at Dunbar one night. And she is just a phenomenal player. And I think on and off the court, just the type of player you want in your program. But go back to your shot blocking thing for a minute. It's a stat that is gaudy stat when you look and say, so-and-so, Vlade Divac had 7 blocks in the game. But if you block the shot, many times you block it and the team gets the ball back. Maybe for another chance. I saw Purvis Ellison do it once at U of L 30 years ago. More than 35 years ago. But Bill Russell would do it. He would block it but keep the possession.
Bill Russell was the best. He could block it to himself.
That's what I'm saying. He would just block instead of swatting it into the seats, which looks great.
Right.
but the other team gets the ball right back.
Right.
He would just block it, tap the ball to himself, and then the
Or to
Celtics,
Kuzi.
yeah, and would get the possession. And Havlicek steals it. Havlicek stole the ball.
I love it.
Johnny Most. Every now and then we come across people that have a unique delivery. Johnny Most may have had he had that Boston Celtics 8-pack a day voice. Johnny Most steals it, bird. Just like he was grunting the whole time.
Oh yeah,
as if he had a little excess. And yeah. Anyway, back to live action. Tonight is the next to last week.
This is unbelievable that you're saying this. Next to last week.
Next to last week of the high school football regular season. The playoffs always start in November. And I've said it probably ad nauseum, and I apologize, but I love high school football. But it goes by way too fast.
Doesn't it, though?
It always does. And so tonight we will be out there combing the countryside for pigskin. Want to say one thing on Monday, and you will see this tonight and throughout the weekend on WKYT, but on Monday, WKYT, we will air Roy Kidd, A Matter of Pride. It's a 1-hour reflection as Roy Kidd passed away a little more than a month ago, and it's going to look at his career as a player at Corbin and at EKU, and as a coach at Madison Model, and as a coach for about 7 seconds, a coach at Morehead State, an assistant coach, and then the rest of his career at EKU and how he is being remembered. So you will want to watch that Monday, CW, 7 o'clock.
I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here, as they say up on Capitol Hill. I've told you before, nobody is better at his job than Brian Milam. I mean, this guy genuinely loves not only what goes on here, but the history of sports and the legacies and things like that. But nobody is more passionate about it. And for much of the last several weeks plus, doesn't make any difference what time of day or night it is, you can walk by the office and he's there, looking at EKU footage or at photos or sending text in the middle of the night saying, "Who is this?" But I mean, I'm sorry,
Carl and Tuck and Steve Bird and everybody else.
I'm saying this in all sincerity. I mean, it's been a labor of love for him, and you should make sure and see this. I mean, Roy Kidd was an unbelievable person, unbelievable coach, and Brian has done an incredible job on this.
Well, it's thank you. I appreciate that very much. It has been a long several weeks, but the one great thing, and I'm going to paraphrase Tom Hanks for a minute, because he said about 20 years ago he was accepting an award, maybe 15. He was accepting an award, and he said, when you're in movie, film, radio, TV, he goes, as long as you are seen, a part of you lives forever.
Oh, there's no question.
And the more that I keep going back through all of our archives to see Coach Kidd, he's not gone. He's right there. His lessons for his players, for his assistant coaches, friends, family, they do carry on.
They do.
And it's just going to be a nice celebration of Roy Kidd on Monday at 7 o'clock. It's called Roy Kidd, A Matter of Pride. Anything else before we get out of here and get back upstairs and keep working on that special?
No, I want to let you get up there and do that. But of course, highlights on the CW at 10 tonight and at approximately 11:17 on WKYT.
What he said. All right. For Dave Baker, I'm Brian Milam. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Friday.